From raging wildfires to the reopening of an iconic intersection, 2025 was filled with highs and lows in our province. Rising costs had many struggling to put food on the table, while a search once called impossible helped close a difficult chapter for some families. Here are some of the top stories that impacted people and the province this year. It was the worst wildfire season in more than 3 decades. Red skies, smoke-choked air, fast-spreading fires left paths of destruction in their wake.
It's either my house is going to be still standing or, it's going to be gone.
Homes and cottages lost.
But you look to the forest behind me, it's just a barren black wasteland.
More than 2 million hectares of land burned across the province, forcing more than 32,000 people out of their homes, many into temporary shelters for weeks.
It's sad because we're being displaced from our homes.
Others stayed behind, trying to save their communities, some waiting too long. In Lac du Bonnet, people were boxed in as the fire moved quickly. Some were able to be flown out by helicopter.
Literally seeing a wall of smoke and flames and 50-foot flames, it was shock and devastation.
But others were unable to be saved.
At the time, wildfire conditions were deplorable.
A couple trapped inside their home with emergency crews unable to get to them. Richard and Sue Noel didn't survive.
And we were able to confirm our worst fears.
Now, months later, the work begins to ensure another season like this one doesn't happen again. A veteran Winnipeg police officer finding himself on the other side of the law.
We understand the damage this does to public trust. Trust which must be earned every day.
Constable Elston Bostock arrested and charged with numerous offenses involving drug trafficking, ticket fixing, and sending half-naked photos of a dead victim.
Tarnishing our reputation and eroding the public's confidence within our service.
Bostock has pleaded guilty to some of those charges and is still set to be sentenced. His plea is part of a deal that could send him to prison. The chief says the disgraced officer has been removed from the force. It was a war of words with President Donald Trump.
Canada's been very bad to us on trade, but now Canada's going to have to start paying up.
And repeated calls from south of the border for Canada to become the 51st state.
What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state.
He believes that Canadians would benefit greatly from becoming the 51st state.
I feel they have to become a state.
It came as Trump imposed wide-sweeping tariffs and the battle between the two countries began.
Right now, I wouldn't bet against America.
Rhetoric that didn't sit well with Manitobans.
Betrayed, angry, disgusted.
It impacted businesses, and tourism across the border plummeted. Manitoba pulled American booze off liquor store shelves.
As long as I'm the premier, we are going to continue standing for the maple leaf, and we're going to continue shouting True North.
Patriotism for the country swelled, and the Prime Minister told people it was elbows up.
It's not for sale, won't be for sale, ever.
The trade war pushed forward a Buy Canadian movement across the country.
Well, here's those mini ones.
Here are the mini carrots. So that's $4.99.
Product of USA.
So we're out of luck.
But as the trade war continued throughout the year, it added to rising costs and increasing prices at the grocery store.
Dairy farmers.
Of Canada, quality milk. I guess that means it's from Canada?
And for many Manitobans, 2025 was a difficult year trying to make ends meet.
Mercedes Myron and Morgan Harris are coming home.
After months of searching, the remains of the 2 First Nations women were found at the Prairie Green landfill. Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron, both victims of a convicted serial killer, now home and properly laid to rest.
If people would have just listened to us and, realized that they are there, this could have happened a lot sooner.
It was a landfill search once deemed impossible, pushed forward by the perseverance of families who never gave up.
No family, no person should go through what we've went through.
But for another family, that pain is still ongoing.
The landfill, it's not the burial ground for anybody.
For years, Ashley Shingoos's family didn't know what happened to her until she was finally identified as the fourth victim, Buffalo Woman. Now, a search at another landfill continues to find her remains.
We are going to bring Ashley home.
Another Manitoba community was left shaken, reeling, and trying to make sense of a mass stabbing.
There's so much sorrow in the community right now.
The attacks on Hollow Water First Nation left the tight-knit community in shock and heartbroken. 18-year-old Marina Simard was killed and 7 other people injured in the attack. The killer, Simard's 26-year-old brother, Tyrone Simard. He died attempting to flee the scene in a stolen car.
I'll ask the community to continue to pray for them, for their recovery.
Simard was out on bail at the time of the attack. This was just one case that had politicians pushing for bail reform all year long.
For that community, bail didn't work. And too often in our society, people are breaching their bail orders.
Winnipeg's mayor lending his voice, telling Ottawa it's time for harsher sentences for repeat violent offenders.
It's got to stop.
That violence is finding its way into schools. A 15-year-old student in Brandon fought off a masked attacker armed with a sword.
They thought I looked dead when I came out on the stretcher.
7 of his fingers nearly severed, and with deep wounds to his chest and thighs, staff and students rushed to help save him and potentially other victims. Police say it was a premeditated assault targeting people of color and immigrants. A 16-year-old boy now facing attempted murder charges. Schools and playgrounds are meant to be safe spaces, and the city says they are 2 areas encampments will no longer be allowed.
There are certain limits that should be no-go zones for encampments.
New bylaws ban tents around places like transit stops, bridges, and rail crossings. The city estimates there were about 100 encampments across Winnipeg this summer, with as many as 700 people living in them, some who have nowhere to go.
I want me here, just have to find me a place to go.
The city says that's the plan. Outreach teams are supposed to be finding people housing before cleaning up the encampments. But some say with the current housing shortage, the plan is falling short.
We're really just chasing the problem around the city rather than actually solving the problem.
Let's go! One problem that was solved, reopening an iconic intersection.
We're officially reopening Portage and Main to pedestrian traffic.
After 46 years of barricades, a labyrinth of tunnels, and a plebiscite that divided the city, Portage and Main reopened with fanfare this past summer.
I think getting access to the exchange and East Exchange is going to be great. I love it.
And the fear that it would bring longer commutes, unwarranted. According to city data, it's had little to no impact on travel times. What has had an impact for many others? Widespread changes to the city's transit network.
There's multiple types of changes. Some are bigger than others.
In June, the city overhauled transit routes, shifting and moving stops in an attempt to increase efficiency. But the blowback was swift, and the complaints came flooding in.
It takes so long for the buses to come.
Stops moved, eliminated, or too far apart. People left waiting, walking, or late.
Students are being skipped because the buses are overcrowded and they're late to class.
The city says it's listening and will be considering changes. And some say change can be good, like in Manitoba's north, where the prospect of expanding the Port of Churchill is a real possibility.
A lot of tires being kicked, a lot of studying going on right now.
The potential mega project also involves upgrading the Hudson Bay Railway, adding an all-weather road to Churchill, and a potential energy corridor.
Better jobs for our kids, better jobs for our grandkids in the future.
But there are concerns.
Things like drugs. If a road is developed into here, I truly believe we will lose our charm.
But the size, scope, and any potential timeline for the projects remain unknown, much like the year ahead. In 2026 comes a new year, new start, and new challenges. Brittany Greenslade, CBC News, Winnipeg.